wrestling with Randy Orton. But no, the main reason I called in was about this whole Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins thing. Obviously, that's the hot topic of the wrestling world today. Yes, it was 100% accidental. But I think it kind of goes along with, this. I know wrestling's not ballet. I know it's not ballet, but more or less, I think these guys are such a valuable commodity that maybe they do need to be a little bit more careful with each other. It's kind of funny that Seth Rollins, not funny, but in a way it is, Seth Rollins being the one who got injured, since he's the one who's been injuring people. Finn Balor, a couple other guys.
Sting?
But, it just really sucks. It really sucks. As I am a big Seth Rollins fan, and it was looking like we were going to see possibly Rollins and Samoa Joe at Fastlane and Rollins and Triple H at WrestleMania. So knowing WWE, they're going to have a good backup plan there, Plan B. But I really hope, and Renee, you were just touching on this, that this gives opportunities for some of the other guys on the roster to step up and, as Vince McMahon would say, grab that brass ring. Maybe it gives Cesaro a shot, since it looked like him and Sheamus are kind of teasing a breakup there. Maybe it gives Finn Balor a shot when he comes back. Maybe he turns Samoa Joe face and he turns on Triple H, and we get them to WrestleMania. But just overall, man, that really, really sucks. I think just in the whole world of wrestling to see a top guy, a hell of an entertainer like Seth Rollins go down like that.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very, very sad to see that happen. I mean, especially since, I always find it interesting when they can make matches happen. Hey, what's up, Luchador? Hey, by the way, Facebook Live is back up. Please tap the screen. Please share. We're like 40 minutes late. I apologize. We're on Mexican time today, I guess. we are back up. It's unfortunate, but listen, Sonny, I have a question for you, because you and I actually ended up in an argument over this, okay? And I want to get Joe's perspective here. And I always say Sonny's my wrestling godfather. He's the one that took me to my very first wrestling show at Pearson Park, KCXW, and my very second show ever at Turner Rec Center for Metro Pro Wrestling. I, at one time, and this was only about a month ago, Joe, I know you're going to remember this, Sonny, I was so blown away by one of AJ Styles' matches. I believe it was when he fought John Cena and won the championship. Maybe it was before. And I said, in my opinion, AJ Styles is the best wrestler alive today, or at least the best wrestler in WWE, even including Seth Rollins. And Sonny basically laughed at me like it was like some ridiculous comment. It was like I was like, Ellsworth could beat Braun Strowman in a legitimate fight. Like, he laughed me off as if it was like the most ridiculous statement on the planet. So I want to get the opinion of some of the other listeners or some of the folks that are watching on Periscope and Facebook. Am I that far off base? I mean, I know Seth's hurt. I'm not talking about hurt Seth Rollins. I'm talking about great Seth Rollins. Is there that much of a disparity? Because a little bit earlier we were talking about having more than one top guy. I think AJ Styles right now is another one of those top guys. Is there that big of a disparity between a guy like Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, or is there really that much of a distance between them, the way that Sonny kind of, said to me that there was? I didn't misquote you, right, Sonny? I'm not misquoting here?
No. I'm listening. I actually want to get Joe Lance. I want to hear what Joe Lance has to say on this before I comment.
And then we're going to bring on Jay Hollywood, because I know Jay Hollywood would be great about answering that question, and he's got a couple of questions of his own. But go ahead, Joe.
I don't think that Seth Rollins and AJ Styles are the same. I think that they are completely different. They are both great wrestlers, but I don't think that you could compare each one to each other, in my opinion.
Okay. So apples to oranges, is that what your opinion is?
Yes, apples to oranges.
Okay, all right. And why is that? Because as far as I'm concerned, they're I know Seth's a little bit bigger, but they would both be what I would consider to be lighter guys, not light cruiserweights, and they both use their speed. Hey, what's up, Kronos? Thanks for checking us out on Facebook Live. But anyway, I think they're very comparable to each other. The only difference is AJ Styles is about 10 years older than Seth Rollins. Let's go ahead and bring on Jay Hollywood, because I want to ask him this same question before he jumps in and asks his own questions. Intern Timmy, let's set up Jay Hollywood. Jay Hollywood, I know you can hear me. Same question, Jay Hollywood. Is there that much of a difference in your opinion as far as who's better talent level between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins? Or are they as close as I think that they are?
Well, I mean, I would have to say, can everybody hear me very well?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, cool. First of all, how's everybody doing? Blessings and all that peace and love to all my peoples out there.
We good, baby. We good.
So, that's good, man. Every day above ground's a good day, as I always say.
For sure.
Check it out, man. I'm a big fan of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins hails from my very same hometown of Davenport, Iowa. But as we talked about on this show I'm not saying Seth's not a real worker, but when you start talking about people who go down in lore as some of the best workers, Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, these people had a certain level of durability. AJ Styles, plain and simple, is way more durable than Seth Rollins. Look at their careers, man. Seth Rollins, of course, he's been in some wars in the independent circuit. I don't know if he went over to Japan and got the crap beat out of him like AJ did, but I'm telling you what, look at the frequency of injury of Seth Rollins and look at AJ Styles. He might be injured, but he's not off-the-shelf injured. The question is already answered in who's being taken off the shelf, or who's being put on the shelf, rather.
All right, fair enough. All right, well let's give our buddy Sonny an opportunity here, because legit, hey Sonny, you know I'm not playing. We ended up having an argument because of this, and I think it was one of the few arguments we ever had in our 15 years of friendship. So now that everybody's kind of had a chance to voice their opinion, I want to go back to you and see what you want to say about it.
I think it's more or less of how you have your love for Roman Reigns, Renee, is how I have my love for Seth Rollins.
Man crush.
Place in my heart.
Man
right
crush.
Yeah, he has a special place in my heart right there, along with the Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink and my Pitbull Bruno. He just has a special place in my heart. But you know what? I think the best way you could say how it is right now is Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart of the 90s. Two different guys, and WWE is making, at least to me, obviously, making it to keep them as far away from each other as you can. And I think that's the way it should be. I think if and when we do get that matchup, it's going to be on a big pay-per-view card, and they're going to hype it up, and I think they're going to knock it out of the park. But, AJ's got about 10 years on Rollins, and AJ's been all over the world, man. He took over TNA. He was the face of TNA. It wasn't Sting or Hogan or anybody like that. I'd argue maybe you could throw Samoa Joe, Chris Daniels in there, but it was AJ who was there from the beginning in TNA, and he made TNA the name it was. And Rollins, he had his time in Ring of Honor. He had his time in Wrestling Society X and a couple other independent promotions in the U.S. And he didn't make a big of a name on the independent scene as AJ did, and he didn't have as much time on the independent scene as AJ did. But I think what Rollins has done in WWE alone has made more of an impact on his career than it has for AJ Styles. So, God, please, I hope no one out there takes it the wrong way. I think AJ Styles is one hell of a professional wrestler, all overall and all around professional wrestler, one of the top 5 today in the world. So, we'll see. And I like what Jay Hollywood said, and he had a great point there. It's about durability into the game now. That's what it is. And here it is in less than a calendar year. Rollins busted up his knee twice.
Damn shame, bro. Damn shame.
We'll kind of see how it goes from there.
No doubt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our boy Sonny Mayo, always contributing here to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Man, are you excited about Dale Wilkes? You, sir, played a big part in making that happen, so we got to show you some love before we jump to Jay Hollywood here, man. How grateful are we to you, man, for helping that happen, man? Thank you. We appreciate it, bro. It's going to be a great interview. That happens exactly 40 minutes from right now, man. The original Patriot, Dale Wilkes, will be right here tonight on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. Thank you, Sonny. We appreciate that.
Hey, Renee, you know you're my brother, and Joe Lance, it's always an opportunity to suplex you any day of the week, bud. And so you'll get another suplex out of nowhere. But anything I can do to help you boys out, you know I love the Wrestle Talk podcast. If the wife let me, I'd get the Wrestle Talk podcast tattooed across my chest, but she's not letting me do it this month. Maybe next month. But hey, I'm going to come up on Facebook Live and watch you guys. And then, Renee, I will be seeing you Saturday night, NWL, baby.
All right, well, we'll see if the wife lets me. That's Valentine's Day weekend, dog. I don't know. Hey, if you bring Rachel, I'm sure I can get Maribel to go. We'll see. We'll see how that works. Sonny, ladies and gentlemen, always a great contributor here to the show. So, Jay Hollywood, I hear you had a couple of things you wanted to address. Now, I know we're cutting into some of Danny Duggan's time, but it was a pre-recorded interview.
No, give me just.
No, wait a minute. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's okay because it's a pre-recorded interview, so we can play that at any time during the show. I want to make sure we have time for the fans and the supporters of the show, and that's you, sir. You are supporting us, and you always do. So go ahead, man. Whatever you got, we're ready to handle it.
Well, and I always will, my friend. And I was just, like I said, the other night during the Rumble, I hit you up. I had just come in from Chicago, had a bit of a busy weekend at the Gentleman's Cooperative with the Penthouse panel with a few UFC Hall of Famers. It was absolutely amazing. But I did get home in time to catch the Rumble, and I was stunned once again at how Goldberg dealt with Lesnar. And I hit you up, and I didn't get a response until you were busy.
Just like that.
You and all of your fans, all the listeners, thoughts on Lesnar once again handily. I'm sorry, Goldberg once again.
It's incredible.
Lesnar. What's the deal? What is this thing set up for?
You know what?
And toast him right enough to say, holy
It was
crap.
it was like some stuff my big brother used to do to me. It was insane.
Wow. Well, you know what? I really don't know, and I think that was a question Jay Hollywood posed was what is the idea? What is the payoff? And man, honestly, I don't consider myself to be an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I usually do have a pretty good gut feeling about what's going to happen, which I think helped me when I was doing the fantasy wrestling thing, making picks and all that and predictions. But man, with this one, bro, I don't know. I mean, unless you're going to do Brock.
The only reason I say that is because he dealt with him so fast, whenever that was, the 43 seconds, a minute and 2 seconds, whatever it was.
Right.
And everyone anticipated the Rumble being a little bit more extensive, but it was even shorter.
Even shorter.
A one-on-one match, but and I don't know. Again, I've listened to all the punditry from Jim Cornette to everyone else about squashing Lesnar, like the guy's a legitimate badass, just beat Mark Hunt, etc. And then the 50-year-old Goldberg comes in and deals with him not just once but twice. What does this do to Lesnar? I'm sorry if I'm making up the names, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm talking about. He squashed Lesnar very fast twice. What are they setting up Goldberg for?
Well, listen, the only thing that I can think of is that they're legitimately trying to build to something that we've not yet seen before in wrestling between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg in a super-duper big-time WrestleMania match. But here's my thing. How can you legitimately...
The one that they had.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. How can you legitimately build to that if both times, it's just been utterly embarrassing? You know what I'm saying? Like the performance that
jobber stuff.
Yeah, and how do you recover from that? I don't know, Jay Hollywood. I'm not really sure exactly how you bounce back from something like that. It's hard for me to understand what they're doing. I'm sure inevitably there's going to be some sort of payoff, okay? But what that is, sure. I mean, I'm just as confused as everybody else. Unless you're making an effort to turn Brock Lesnar into a babyface, but how does Goldberg turn? You know, how does Goldberg turn? And how could you even contemplate that if Paul Heyman is the manager of Brock Lesnar? You can't really have a true babyface if Paul Heyman is your manager. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. It's
very true.
I really have no answer for you. I wish I did, but I don't. So, much like they go ahead.
Well, just as much as it threw the internet into a tizzy when it happened the first time, I guess it wasn't quite as impactful. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention to it the second time. My mouth was still
Sonny, you're right. That's next weekend, so I won't be able to make the KCX show. But this weekend, good chance we're at NWL.
it's cool because it creates conversation. Here we are talking about it, and I'm just very anxious to see what exactly they're doing, what direction they're going.
No doubt. We're really anxious about it as well. Hey, thank you for the help with the Facebook feed, bro. We're going to get right into the Danny Duggan interview. We're going to play about half of it at the beginning and then another half a little bit later on throughout the show. So listen, man, we appreciate it, bro. It's always love. Man, let people know where to find you. I know it's hashtag It's Me Speaking to You, the Conspiracy Farm, man. Let everybody know where to find you on social media, bro.
Well, a one-stop shop, just to make it easy for everyone, if you want to go to www.theconspiracyfarm.com, that's where you can find all of myself and UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich interviews for The Conspiracy Farm. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see an icon for it. You click on it, and you will find all of the interviews, including a couple of interviews with the gentleman from Wrestle Talk.
Oh, that's right, guys. We have made 2 appearances on It's Me Speaking to You. Make sure you guys check them out. www.conspiracyfarm.com. Only one other website I love more than that one, and that's the WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Make sure you guys check us out up there as well. Take it easy, Jay Hollywood. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace and love.
All right, peace. All right, Nightmare Jones. I know you're not happy. I know you're angry. But listen, as you know, intern Timmy can kiss it. The callers, the listeners, the fans take precedent. So what we're going to do is we're going to play like the first 10 minutes of Danny Duggan, and that is including our time that we usually take during the break, and then we're coming back with the world's greatest fantasy wrestling group, the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and also Twitter at Worldwide Chap. Intern Timmy, let's go ahead and go with the Danny Duggan intro and then the interview, please.
All right.
Muted.
Hey, what up, Joe? What's going on? As you guys can hear, I'm kind of talking in the background. We're doing an interview with Danny Duggan. Yeah, that's right, Bananarama, bro. That's it. It's Bananarama. That's the song that Danny Duggan comes to the ring with, bro. Totally, yeah. Super 80s moment. You guys make sure you guys check out CWE, man. Canadian Wrestling Elite. They got big stuff going on up. Real quick, I'll let you guys hear this because Danny Duggan's a cool dude. I'll let you guys catch up to this.
The hot shot, Danny Duggan joins us again here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. How's everyone doing today?
We're doing good.
You guys hear that okay?
Doing good.
You guys hear that all right? Hope you're okay.
Hey, how are you doing these days, man? I imagine it's been tough for you to even take rest after having such a busy schedule, man. So let's get right into it, bro. 12 shows, 12 days, man. How the heck does something like that come together, and how was it? 12 shows in 12 days is what we do up here in Canada. We've been going tour by tour. We started off with 3 shows, 4 shows, 5 shows, 8 shows, and now we're up to 12. And come April, we're doing 16 shows in 16 days. So wrestling is red hot in Canada right now. It's cold and miserable here, so we need to find ways to entertain ourselves.
Oh, hey, I think I miss you. Blair, what's up? Thanks for checking this on Facebook Live and Periscope. Thank you guys for being so loyal and sticking out here throughout the whole show. We're 53 minutes in, and it's been kick-ass so far. Luchador, as always, thank you. Hey, what up, Joe? Dude, the RVD show was nuts, man. Make sure you go back and listen to the first part of today's show. Just go to WrestleTalkPodcast.com. You can listen there. Bro, we talked all about the RVD visit, man. It was incredible.
Not very, very.
Oh, by the way, I got to hang out with him for like 2 hours, bro. It wasn't just a meet and greet. take a picture, sign the belt, or whatever. No, dude, it was like we hung out, we talked, and we got to know each other. Like, it was cool.
12 shows in 12 days. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah, well, and I our referee players go every night of the tour, so our referee probably got a good, close to 100 matches under his belt, if not more than that, over the span of our tour. So he's definitely getting some experience up this way.
Absolutely.
Well, by the way, I wanted to ask all you guys who are tuning in, man, please tap the screen. That helps us tremendously, man. And then I also would love to ask you guys, man, to share this broadcast. In just a few minutes here, we're going to be jumping over to our fantasy wrestling segment. Our family from the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter will be going live on the Wrestle Talk podcast. So be sure you guys dial that number, 657-383-1521. We'll do about 10 or 12 minutes with the fantasy wrestling segment, and then we'll go into Big Daddy P, and then we got the Patriot Dale Wilkes coming up, man. The Patriot Dale Wilkes, son.
Yo. These shows are stacked with the best wrestlers in the world right now, so there's no off nights. It doesn't matter if you're in the first match or if you're in the last match.
Thank you guys for sharing, man. I really appreciate that. Thanks for tapping the screen.
I don't know if it's
Appreciate you, Derek, man.
But we don't have
Appreciate you.
that WWE national TV stamp on us where we can go and hit our greatest hits for the live show and call it a night. We're going to count from the ground up. So we're going in and we are working hard. Those are 12 matches that we're going out and we're busting our ass, we're balls to the wall each and every night. So
for those of you guys just now tuning in, I saw a couple more people hop in here. We are talking to this interview we just did yesterday with the hotshot Danny Duggan, the promoter and a wrestler for Canadian Wrestling Elite. They're just coming off of a tour where they did 12 shows in 12 days. And then February 18th, they're having a Legends of Wrestling show with every old school legend that you could think of is going to be there in Winnipeg, Canada.
Just from the social media and internet wrestling community and education, you guys are doing just that. I mean, with bringing in big names such as ATH amongst others, there's no doubt that it's going to continue to pick up some steam. But I do have to ask you about one show in particular. In doing our research, we saw that the show in Saskatchewan was one of, if not the best show. What set that show apart in your mind? Was it attendance? Was it the atmosphere? Was it just the flat-out good matches in the ring? I mean, was there something about that night that just made it maybe just a little bit more special than the others? To be honest with you, there's not one show that stands out as being more special than the other because they're so stacked from top to bottom that it didn't matter which market we were in. If we were in the market that was, heavily kids and families, or if it was one of the major markets that are more in tune wrestling fans, what's going on in the wrestling world, every show was so good and the fans were so responsive to what we were doing that every bit was so
Hey, thank you guys for the love, man. I appreciate it. Every time you tap the screen, man, a baby is born and a dove's broken wing is fixed. So keep saving those doves, guys.
And they were two of the most successful events in terms of attendance. So people are really red hot for wrestling right now, and it's a real cool time just to be in the wrestling business as a wrestler and as a promoter. Because with all due respect to ECH, in terms of headliners, in terms of national exposure, I would have to say he's been the smallest headliner we brought on the road, as he hasn't had that WWE or TNA run or anything of that nature. And we saw some of the best business we ever did in a lot of our markets. So that's a testament to just building the brand, going over the great shows each and every time we're there, and wrestling being cool again. So it's really, really fun to be in the business right now and seeing people being enthusiastic about wrestling and supporting the way they are right now. And no doubt about it. Now, Joe, I'm going to throw to you here because I know you had a question. I know we were planning on making the trip up to the show, the Legends show, the Legends of Wrestling show, February 18th. That doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards. But I know that you yourself are pretty eager to get up to Canada and catch a CWE show. From what you've been able to see up to this point, man, what is it that's really catching your attention up in Canada? Because I know someone called it the birthplace of wrestling. And if it's not the birthplace, it's definitely the home of wrestling. Because, I mean, you guys are definitely a hotbed up there in Canada. So are we going to make it up there soon, Joe? And what has you excited about making that trip?
Oh, definitely. We're definitely going to try to make it up there as soon as we possibly can. And, it's just, the wrestling promotion has so many great talent. They entertain the fans, and it's a lot of fun.
fun.
Yeah, you know what, Jeff, I appreciate that, man. I'm not a big fan, to be honest with you, with on the pre-recorded joints. Thank you guys for tapping the screen, man. Thank you guys for sharing. It means a lot. I like to do it live, and like botching and stuff is kind of our thing. But Danny actually had a very important appointment today that he kind of scheduled a while back, so he wasn't going to be available for the live interview, but he did make the time to talk to us. He's like, dude, call me Tuesday. If you guys want to talk for an hour, we can talk for an hour. And we ended up going about 20 minutes, which was cool because I know his back's not well. 12 shows in 12 days, bro. I don't care how good you are or how in shape you are. That's going to take a toll, especially if it's not in the same town. You're going to 12 different towns across Canada doing 12 different shows. They got another show on the 11th, and then they've got the show on the 18th. That's the Legend show. So, man, if you guys don't already know about Danny Duggan, like, for real, do your research. Danny Warren on Facebook. Look him up. Give him a like. He's a tremendous guy, super talented, and he's the true definition of an entrepreneur. Guy's an inspiration.
How do you adjust to something like that on the fly? Renee, you got to get way through that question. Oh, it's okay. I have no problem saying it. So I guess my question was, not only being a wrestler, but being kind of a booker and a guy that helps bring people together for shows like the 12 shows in 12 days and also the Legends of Wrestling, when things come up and guys aren't able to make it, how are you able to adjust on the fly to things like that? It's very easy. We've got a lot of depth. The cool thing about the CWE shows are we've got a collection of talent from around the world. We're not just local based, so we're not just relying on our local talent to produce our show for us. We've got guys coming in that headline from various parts of Canada, United States. This last trip we had somebody from Japan. So when somebody can't make it, the other guys just pick up the slack and work that much harder. So there was, 18th was originally scheduled to be on all small events. He opted to miss the last two to work other shows, unfortunately. So he wasn't there for the two biggest shows of the tour, and we've never had that before where our headliner wasn't on the two big towns. And with all due respect to ACH, it didn't make a difference because the guys were so good and the crew was so talented that there was not one single person in Winnipeg or Thunder Bay that said, hey, it really sucks that ACH wasn't here, because everybody else went and busted their ass and picked up the slack and gave them a show to remember. So when we got the depth we do, we don't worry about those things too much. It just feels like, if somebody can't make it, especially somebody in a featured spot, all it does is it presents itself an opportunity for somebody else to pick up the ball and run with it. That's exactly what happened on multiple occasions.
Awesome. That was such a great interview. I mean, like I said, there was like at least 10 to 20 more minutes left, but, with time constraints, we only got to listen to 10 minutes, but I can promise you the whole interview will be on the WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Am I correct, Renee?
Well, it will be, and here's what we're going to do, bro. We're going to go ahead and play the second half of that interview after Dale Wilkes tonight, if that's cool with everybody. So what you've heard so far, 12 shows, 12 days, up in Canada, probably the baddest and most consistent promotion going up in Canada. So you guys are definitely want to stay in tune to that, especially because on the 18th of February, they have a Legend show that's going to happen. And, hey, cutie. They have a Legend show that's going to happen, and that show is going to feature some of the biggest stars and the biggest legends in wrestling ever, including Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Paul Orndorff, Howard Finkel, and on and on and on. And we talk about that a little bit more when he comes on in the second part of the interview. So after Dale Wilkes, if time permits, we are going to play the second half of that interview. So be sure you guys stay tuned in immediately after Dale Wilkes to hear the rest of it, because it was definitely worth it. So with that being said, we're going to play about 30 to 45 seconds of music, and then we're going to go right into our fantasy wrestling segment. So Nightmare Jones, intern Timmy, hit the music.
What are you using?
hablando?
I'm using that measurements for my field trip tomorrow.
I'm gonna do that. Why is everyone trying to jump in on these shots? You're all trying to jump in on the shots?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter segment. One of my favorite segments of the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Me too, Joe. And my family has invaded the show today, and I love them dearly, but I'm getting a little distracted, so I apologize. But yeah, we actually have quite a few callers from the FWWEC ready to go right now, and they've got a lot to say. We just had the Royal Rumble event this weekend, so I'm going to tell you something. These group of people have a passion for professional wrestling beyond what my normal fan does, okay? They not only love wrestling and watch wrestling as much as you and I do, they actually suit up in character and operate in this alternate fantasy wrestling universe called the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter at Worldwide Chapter on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our first caller, because there's a lot of controversy going on in the FWWC, and I'm curious to see who has the cojones to call in first. Was it somebody that won at Royal Rumble? Was it somebody that lost? I'm not 100% sure it is, but intern Timmy does. So let's go ahead and get our first caller on today.
First caller is a guy that has called into the show quite a few times before, the one, the only Mr. Jimbo Slice. What's going on, my friend?
Bo.
What's going on?
How you doing, Big Pop?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Feeling great, man. We're just a few minutes away from talking to the Patriot, Dale Wilkes. We just heard a part of the interview with Danny Duggan, and we had Sonny Mayo and Jay Hollywood on before him, man. So it's definitely been a kick-ass show, bro. Hopefully you're enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. So what do you got on your mind tonight, Jimbo?
Well, I might have lost my Warriors Heart Championship, but that ain't going to be the last time you see me with it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait a minute. So are you saying that you're still in pursuit of the Warriors Heart Champion? Now, for those of you guys who don't know, we use championships, replica championships, to represent our championships in the group. This championship is the Warriors Heart Championship, the big gold. And Jimbo Slice had it for, like, eternity. And he recently lost it to Corbin Slater. So does that mean that you are definitely looking to be in the main event match at Universe Mania 3 there, Jimbo Slice?
Yes, I am.
Well, there you have it. First man to throw his hat in the ring for the Warriors Heart Championship match, which will be our main event at Universe Mania 3. Please make sure you guys look us up, man. Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. Just type that in to your search bar on Facebook. You're going to find us. It is private. We'll add you, bring you up to speed, and I think you'll have a damn good time doing it. Jimbo, I got to ask this question. So what was the toughest part of having to defend your championship against 5 other guys?
Well, a few of them I've never faced before, so I just didn't know how it would end up. But I did my best.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job, and we look forward to seeing you back in competition very, very soon. And we'll see if the BOD agrees to put you in that championship match for the Warriors Heart title at Universe Mania. Jimbo Slice, we appreciate it, man. We'll catch you on the other side.
All righty.
Take it easy, brother.
All right.
All right, Nightmare Jones, I know we're
That was Jimbo.
chock full of people. Who else we got, brother?
The next caller is another guy that's been calling in quite frequently, the Mr. AJ Atticus. What's going on, my friend?
Mr. Atticus. Nice.
Fellas, I understand. It can be long and drawn out. I have to try this for the first time, so I hope you are happy you are the first one to hear this be said. Ladies and gentlemen of the Wrestle Talk podcast, my name is AJ Atticus, and I am the advocate for my clients, the steampunk Collective. Oh, that felt good. Ooh, a nice little ring to it. Oh, yeah, snore all you want, but you know...
Nightmare. Wait, hold on. Mr. Atticus, Mr. Atticus, allow me. Nightmare Jones, we know your unfaltering and undeniable loyalty to La Familia, but for the sake of fairness, can we just let Mr. Atticus finish, please?
I guess.
I just want to say one thing to you, Nightmare Jones. I understand you want to snore, but the Steampunk Collective was 100% rooting for you at the Royal Rumble when you won the Tag Team Championships. We were extremely happy when you did that.
True story.
You also rooted when I fell off of the Titantron, disfiguring myself, too. Yeah.
There was one person who was rooting for you in the Steampunk Collective, and he admitted that. That was Deodric Rain. And that's some confusion that's been going on. Just because one person in the Steampunk Collective says something does not mean we all feel that way. We thought it was amazing when you came off of that Titantron, but we were a bit concerned when you got hurt. We are always concerned when a fellow competitor gets hurt. We don't disrespect you guys or trash you or bash you or put you down unless we have been trashed and bashed and put down first.
Well, I think
there's been some confusion on the...
I think that's good of you, AJ. Just real quick, I'm going to jump in and say this. I think that's real great of Mr. Atticus to come here and you know, he's willing to clear the air a little bit, because it almost seemed there for a second like, you know, like Steampunk Collective was, you know, trying to start some beef with some of the members of La Familia, but now that we've seen it all play out a little bit, it almost seems like there's more of a Deodric Rain versus Legion thing going on instead of a La Familia versus Steampunk Collective thing going on. Now, is that how things will continue? Is there going to be a good working relationship between the two? I don't know, but what I can tell you is that at this point, I'm looking forward to what's going on between Rain and Legion, because now a number one contendership match opportunity is on the line for this coming Monday between Legion of La Familia and Deodric Rain of the Steampunk Collective. I'm very interested personally to see how that plays out. Please continue, Mr. Atticus. Please continue.
Myself included, I am super excited about how that's going to play out. I have to give huge props to Corbin Slater for winning the Warriors Heart Championship. Beautiful job. But I do have to give props to Deodric Rain also for putting up his number one contendership, because that is what the Steampunk Collective is about. If you are going to call us out, we will not back down. We will step up to your challenges. We are not here to be like, oh, we're going to shy away from that. That's not what we do. We're here to better everyone, including ourselves. There are people who have been lacking, and we are here to tell everyone it's time to step up your game, or if you're not here and you don't love it, then get out. What are you here for?
What are you here for, indeed? All right, Mr. Atticus, well, it's always great to hear from you. Thank you for clearing the air, and hopefully we'll see some quick resolution in this beef between Deodric Rain and Legion.
Absolutely. Before I go, gentlemen, Marcus Mayhem, expect to hear from Massacre soon as well. You want to call him out, I guarantee you he has an answer. Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Massacre's a pretty intense dude, bro. I can't wait to hear from him.
That was AJ Atticus. All right, let's get our next caller in. And as a matter of fact, this is our first time caller. We were just talking about this gentleman, Mr. Deodric Rain. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
I am fantastic, and I'm preparing for Monday night. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Now, you do have a pretty big match on Monday night. Would you like to
Yes, I do.
elaborate?
Well, the Steampunk Collective decided to drop a teaser, and the chapter blew up about it. Marcus called out Massacre and insulted the rest of us members. So I talked a little bit of trash. That's what I do. And then Legion decided to call me out, and I'm not backing down. So I put my contendership on the line to show them that I'm not afraid.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me jump in here and say this, Nightmare Jones. Deidre Grayton is a guy who basically already had a UXT championship spot well within his grasp. Okay, and then we went into the Royal Rumble, and if he had won that match, he would have been the sole number one contender. Unfortunately, he was unable to pull that off. Then Monday, Tuesday, we got the news about the Steampunk Collective. Some words were said back and forth, and Deidre Grayton is now stepping up to the plate and will defend his spot in the number one contendership match against Robert this upcoming Monday. I've got to say, Mr. Rain, for a guy that's just coming into the group now, you've definitely made an impact already, but some people would say that it maybe isn't so wise that Legion basically set the bait and you took it. Is that how this is coming across to the rest of the people in your group? Or is it one of those deals like, hey, I got to step up to the plate and prove what I'm made of? I mean, is it a bad decision or is it a good decision that you were willing to put up your spot? I'm curious.
Well, the collective is mixed about it, but since I was called out, we all agreed that we do not back down from challenges. And that's pretty much it. I'm not afraid to lose my spot in the match against Robert. I will beat Legion, and I will hold on, and then I will go on to beat Robert, and I will be the number one contender, and then I will beat the current champion and become the UXT champion.
All right. Strong words from Deidre Grayton. Nightmare Jones, I believe we have time for one more caller from the FWWC before we go to Snippets of Truth with our resident chaplain, Big Daddy P. We got a couple of prayer requests tonight. Always know that you can send us those prayer requests to WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Go to the contact tab, fill out the little form. It doesn't take more than about 2 minutes, okay? And we will get your prayer request to Big Daddy P. But I believe we have one more caller. We're going to ask you to make it a little bit quick if you don't mind, simply because we want to respect Big Daddy P's time. And also we have the original Patriot, Dale Wilkes, ready to go here in about 8 minutes. So, who's up next, Nightmare?
All right, next we have a new champion calling in, Mr. Corbin Slater, the Metal Maniac. What's going on, my friend?
How's it going, gentlemen?
What's up, Slater?
On your title.
Well, thank you for the congratulations, Joe. And what's up, Renee?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Corbin, man, super proud of you. You're one of the newest guys in the group. You've only been around for about a month or two, and you've kept telling people, hey, no matter what you do, be prepared to get caught in the mosh. And 5 other men got caught in the mosh on Sunday. The highest score of the night, the Metal Maniac, Corbin Slater, takes home the Warriors Heart Championship, our top championship in this group that we call the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. In a few words, Mr. Slater, how do you feel about being the Warriors Heart Champion?
You know, it's a little unreal, to be honest with you. I gave it everything I got, like I said I was going to. I put my money where my mouth was, especially when it came to legends like Big Papa and a soon-to-be legend like Arden. I mean, Doc Rob, all those guys gave me a run for my money, and it was an amazing match, as the universe will tell you, and it's almost unreal still.
Well, that's fantastic. And what do you plan on doing between now and Universe Mania 3? Do you have any ideas? I know you got a lot of media appearances. I know you've got a lot of things lined up. From what I understand, you're going to be one of the first guests on the FWWC Today, the brand new fantasy wrestling-based podcast that is being fathered here through the Wrestle Talk podcast. I hear that you're lined up to be one of their first guests. But as far as matches go, do you have anything or anyone in sight between now and Universe Mania 3?
Well, I'll tell you what, for right now, I will have a few more words later on tonight to be able to watch that for what's next. But I know what's next in my mind is another title, another shot at gold. And in my mind, I think the next person to take on would be the Titan of Time himself, Kronos, for that United States Championship.
My goodness. You hear it here first. What do you think about that, Nightmare Jones? That could be interesting, right?
That could be interesting. Let me tell you, though, the Titan of Time is nobody to joke with. I've gone up against the Titan of Time twice, maybe 3 times, and each time I've not been able to defeat him, so it's not going to be an easy task. Let's put it that way.
No doubt about it.
It's not going to be easy at all.
All right, well, listen, unfortunately, we are up and out of time for the Fantasy Wrestling segment. Corbin Slater, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you on. We're very proud of you, the board of directors, the firm, whatever. We're super happy to have a brand new Warriors Heart champion. But now you're no longer climbing the mountain. You're at the top of the mountain, and trying to stay there is a lot harder than getting there. So we hope you're ready for that. You have a good one. And do us a favor, man. What can people get caught in? If they have a problem with you, do me a favor.
Be prepared to be caught in a marsh.
I love that, bro. I love that. That reminds me of a crazy guy that used to be in the group. He used to go, "You dirty." No, never mind. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. All right. Up next, Snippets of Truth with Big Daddy P. Intern Timmy, hit the music and bring it down slow this time. Love that song. Ladies and gentlemen, Snippets of Truth with Big Daddy P. Big Daddy P, welcome back to the show. How you doing tonight?
I am unbelievable. How about you, my brother?
Woo! Feeling great, man. 2017 has already been a wonderful year with a lot of great surprises, man. We're very excited that you're back on the show. Sorry we missed you last week, man. We actually did not broadcast at all last week. There was just way too much going on. But we're back, you're back, and we have some prayer requests, if I understand that correctly.
We do. We got one about Tina who lost her grandma, right?
We did.
And then we got one. And then we got one from Manny Fernandez who just had surgery.
That's correct.
Wow.
Okay. I've got a few myself. I got to tell you, though, man, I really, really loved Royal Rumble.
Hey, it was a great pay. A lot of people are ticked off, man. I really enjoyed it.
Well, there was no surprises. That was about the only thing I'd say about it. But there was a lot of matches. That match with Cena and Styles, man. Wow. What a match.
Yeah, hey, listen, there's no doubt about the fact that the rest of the card was outstanding. I mean, even the Bayley and Charlotte match was very entertaining. I was a little disappointed that we had to go to the pre-show to watch the tag team championships be competed for. It kind of surprised me. I was also a little disappointed that we had basically just one SmackDown match the whole 5-hour show, and that one SmackDown match was probably the match of the night, and it's the one that you've already alluded to, which was Cena versus AJ Styles. But I do want to ask you this, Big Daddy P. I kind of heard there through the grapevine that you made an appearance at Tennessee All Pro Wrestling. I'm curious. Are you back in the business or what, man? Because I know you're one heck of a manager slash was it general manager, announcer? I can't remember exactly what you were doing out there, but are you back in the biz, man, or what?
All of the above. I was the GM. I did manage, and I also did ring announcing. I came back with the girls because I actually had enough money that I could go and not have to worry about it, so I actually took a night off for the first time, and we just had a blast. It was awesome. I'm not back in a matter of serving, but it was really great to be back, and one of the things that makes independent wrestling better than WWE, in my opinion, is the fact it's much rawer. it isn't so polished, and I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I agree. You know, here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, we're always advocating for independent wrestling, whether it be here in the Midwest, up on the East Coast where Joe's at, down in the South Central, as I like to say, where you're at, Big Daddy P, or pretty much anywhere else in the country. Really, if you love wrestling and have not been to an independent wrestling show, you're doing yourself a huge, huge disservice.
What did you think about the Jeff Jarrett news?
Dude, you know what? I think Jeff Jarrett is an extremely intelligent guy who has a great perspective on life, in my personal opinion. And I think all is going to go well. I mean, having him back in the fold can only help, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not going to hurt. I mean, again, TNA will always have an audience. They needed the Jeff Jarrett push again, especially now that he's with GFW and what's been happening there. But ultimately, I think professional wrestling in itself, to have wrestlers like Ryback and Cody Rhodes and a lot of guys coming back, going back to independent, it only makes the product better all the way across the board. I mean, look at how many shows Jeff Jarrett himself has had over the last year locally.
Yeah, and he makes a killing every time. He sells out wherever. I mean, dude, honestly, he does.
He's got a big one coming up. He's got a big one coming up with the Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah, which by the way, and Joe can speak to this. Joe, didn't the Hardy Boys just win the Maryland Championship Wrestling Tag Team Championships?
Yeah,
they did. They did, and I believe if they're not correct, the crowd NCW drew like 1,500 people for that show.
You see,
1,500 for an indie show. That's nuts.
That's awesome. You know what that means? That means that now people are beginning to realize that not only can you get good professional wrestling on TV, but locally, I mean, it's just good for the industry all the way around. I mean, everybody's tied in anyway, man. I don't care who you are and what you think. The fact is, Vince McMahon has no problem with competition. He loves independent wrestling. He thrives off it. He gets his boys from independent wrestling. I mean, just so ultimately, I couldn't be happier, man. It's really, really an awesome thing. I know you have a guest. I know we got to get the prayers going. So are y'all ready to pray?
Yeah, let's do it, Big Daddy P.
Absolutely.
Okay. Father God, we once again come before you tonight with an attitude of thanksgiving and gratitude for all that you do for us. We want to thank you so much for all the wonderful things going on in professional wrestling. Whether people know it or not, you are the creator of all things, and you alone have given us this wonderful sport, this wonderful form of entertainment that keeps us laughing, crying, screaming, jumping, and looking forward to hearing more wonderful news about as we get closer to WrestleMania, which is one of my favorite times of the year. I just pray, Father, right now for all the wrestlers and all the promotions, that you would continue to protect them, that you would continue to heal their bodies. We know this sport is very physical. We know there are a lot of people who are not properly trained until accidents happen, but we know that even in those situations, your grace is still sufficient. Father, the prayer request we have tonight is we have for a lady named Tina who lost her grandmother. We pray that you would give Tina comfort as well as the family during this terrible time. Also for Mr. Fernandez, who had 5 surgeries, we pray that you continue to heal his body, that you give him the rest that he needs. Father, I also bring to you right now the prayer request from my daughter for her friend who is really hurting and is needing your love, Father, and is needing compassion from this world. And Father, I also want to pray that you'll continue to watch over the next 28 days as you make a transition for me and my family and all that you're doing in our lives. We can never thank you enough. Thank you for all the new websites we've gotten and all the people that we've been able to help. I thank you so much for my brothers, Renee and Joe, for the WrestleTalk podcast. And for those that are listening right now, Father, for although many of them might know who you are, they don't realize just how much you love them and how you're there for them, and how it is you that will come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. If there's someone right now listening, Father, who maybe has been distant from you or doesn't know who you are, that they would hear the good news that you love them so much that when you sent your Son to die on the cross on their behalf, they did it so that you could have a relationship with them. And by faith alone, the size of a mustard seed, just enough to believe that the work that you did was good enough for them to have eternal life. The Bible says, believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and you will be saved. So I pray now, Father, that anybody who's listening, that they would come to you right now knowing that you are the answer to all of the problems that they have in their life, and that it isn't about us being perfect, but us recognizing the perfect one who died for us. And I just thank you so much, and I love you. And I ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. And as we're doing, amen. But as we're doing this prayer, I'm glad that I remembered, because there was also one more prayer request, Big Daddy P, that I think we both forgot about or overlooked. And it was from a guy that was just on in the previous segment, our Warriors Heart champion, Corbin Slater, whose real name is Kyle, and he lives in Southeast Missouri. Right. So I want to make sure that along with the prayer that we just said, that we also keep Kyle Douglas and his family in our prayers, for him and his family. Unfortunately, his grandfather, Joseph Matthew Molitor, hopefully I pronounced that right, passed away just a couple of days ago. He's a dear friend of ours. He's a member of the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter, and we hope that him and his family are giving the strength through the grace of God to deal with this difficult happening in their family. So I should make sure I threw that in there. It's very important that we did.
First of all, there's no better time than right now. Father God, you know the situation. You know the circumstances. We thank you, Father, for the remembrance of this prayer request. And Father, we just ask right now, not only do you meet them at their needs, but that you could to strengthen them through this situation. Father, we also had one more prayer request for Miller Tank, who had a coworker whose brother's trailer caught on fire, and just ask that you would continue to be with their family as they go through this trying situation. Just continue to restore them, and we love you so much. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen and amen. Thanks a lot, Big Daddy P. We're moving on to Dale Wilkes. We'll catch you again next week. All right, brother?
Until next time, my brother. Have an awesome night.
Grace and peace, Big Daddy P. You know what's crazy, Joe? And I know we got Mr. Wilkes on hold already, but I think like sometimes we'll have these guests on. Like we had Mark Merrow on hold, and even after the show, he was like, "Yo, you guys do a prayer thing like every show?" I'm like, "Yep, every show." It doesn't matter what guest we have on. I think we had a guy named Tyler Stinson on a couple of months ago, and he thought it was like the worst thing ever. He's like, "What the hell are you guys doing? You guys having a seance before I came on?" I'm like, "No, dude. We do a prayer for whoever is in need, whether you're a believer or not. That's just something we do here on Wrestle Talk. It's turned some people off. A lot of people absolutely love it. I know a lot of people that tune in just to hear Big Daddy P. And it's just something that we believe, man. It's in our hearts. I know Joe and I agree on that. And hopefully it doesn't weird anybody out. We do it for about 5 minutes every show. And we think it's the right thing to do. And to be honest with you, and this is, as they call in the wrestling business, a shoot, I don't think we ever would have gone from 12 listeners a week to over 450 a week had it not been for the introduction of the prayer segment and Big Daddy P to the show. So hopefully, I know we've lost a couple, but we're more than thankful for the people that have decided to stick around with us. But with all that being said, Nightmare, it's time for the featured guest of the evening. Are you ready for this, man?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, you know what, man? I know it's been a while, bro, but would you be okay with doing the introduction this time?
I can surely try. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest that we had is a man that really needs no introduction. I mean, this is the original Patriot. I mean, he's wrestled everywhere. He's wrestled in the WWF. I mean, anywhere you can think of, he has been there. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome the original Patriot, Dale Wilkes. What's going on, my friend?
Good to have, good to be with you. I appreciate you guys having me on, and things are going well here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I hope it is for both of you.
Oh, it's going great. It's going great. It's definitely an honor to have you on the show tonight, my friend.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be on.
All right. And I agree. I share Joe's sentiments, Del. Let me start off by saying Del is a little bit under the weather in terms of his voice. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I gave him the option to opt out and do it another time, and he was like, no, man, let's do it. I'm okay. It doesn't hurt. I just, apologize if I don't sound all that great. So, listen, I think you sound fantastic. And again, like Joe said, it's just a privilege and an honor to have you on. So let's get right into it, Del. A lot of people know you for your history in professional wrestling. I mean, you definitely, made your mark there. But what a lot of people don't know is that you hail from the great state of South Carolina and actually did a lot of damage down there before you actually got into wrestling. You were an All-American offensive guard for the Gamecocks down in South Carolina. So I'm curious, man, can you speak a little bit on your football career?
Oh, I do. I tell you, that's as much a part of who I am as wrestling. It's a big part of my life, and it's a part of my life that I'm proud of.
Hey, Shannon, thanks for checking in, man. I appreciate it, man. Anybody who has an opportunity to do that, tap the screen a few times, man. Share this broadcast, man. We're talking to the original Patriot, Del Wilkes, legend in the wrestling game, man. Thank you guys for checking us out tonight. Thank you so much.
Named Clyde, that used to be the recruiting coordinator for Clemson University, and Clyde Wren. He's very well known in the state of South Carolina. And he was the first person to ever contact me when I was in the 9th grade, and this was back in the mid-'70s. Clyde Wren came to high school. I was a 9th grader, and he sat down with me and talked to me about coming to play football one day at the University of Clemson. Well, Clyde later had the same job at the University of South Carolina in charge of recruiting, but I ran into Clyde today, and we sat down and reminisced about those days as being a 9th grader in high school and having all these colleges recruit me and come after me. And, of course, it was easy for me. I was going to play college football in the state of South Carolina. I could have gone to Georgia Tech. I mean, I could have gone basically anywhere I wanted to go to play college football. But I knew it would be South Carolina or Clemson. And in the end, my love for the Gamecocks, everybody in my family were Gamecocks. Several members of my family graduated from the university, so I was glad that I went to the University of South Carolina and played football there, and I'm also very proud of what I did there and the mark, that I left there, and played on some good football teams. As a matter of fact, my freshman year in 1980, my teammate George Rogers won the Heisman Trophy, and so some special things happened for me there at the University of South Carolina. Very, very proud of those years.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean, you want to talk about it, and I definitely want to make sure that we touch on the football thing because you essentially lived the two different dreams. I mean, because a lot of people dream about making it big in wrestling, which you accomplished, and a lot of people dream about making it big in football, which you accomplished. So I'm curious, if you had to choose one, Del, that would be your bigger passion, could you choose one over the other, wrestling or football?
That would be tough. It really would. I think there are things about both that makes each special. Football being a legitimate shoot. There's no predetermined outcome there. That outcome is settled on a football field that's 50 yards wide and 100 yards long. And the best team, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes. So there's something about that that's very special. But there's also some special things about pro wrestling, too, that make it unique. being able to go out night after night and entertain thousands of people that are in attendance and millions watching on TV. So it would be hard to pick one over the other. I'm just very fortunate and very blessed that I had two passions as a kid. One was football, the other pro wrestling. And I got to fulfill my dream in both instances and do very well in both.
No doubt. Well, you definitely succeeded very much in both. And a lot of the credit, just from you and I talking even before this interview, you credit your mentors, your teachers, your coaches quite a bit with your success, as well as your family. So I want to touch on that a little bit. I think nowadays, because, there's still a lot of machismo or whatever, if you ask the guy, hey, who trained you? Maybe the first words out of their mouth wouldn't be, hey, some woman or some gal trained me. But with you, I think that might be a little bit different. From what I understand, you not only trained with the legendary Verne Gagne, you also trained with the fabulous Moolah, of all people, maybe one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time. I'm curious, I should say, what was that experience like, both training with Verne and with Moolah?
Well, it started with Moolah. Moolah is from the same place I'm from. She was born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina. Never left Columbia. Lived here till the day she died. And so when football was over for me, the Atlanta Falcons.
We're talking to Dale Wilkes, the Patriot, guys, about the fabulous Moolah and Verne Gagne. It's a great interview so far. Thank you guys for tapping the screen. Thank you guys for sharing this, man. It means a lot to us. We appreciate it. Truly respect to all the listeners, all the fans. Feel free to call in and ask Dale Wilkes a question. 657-383-1521. That's 657-383-1521. Any questions you have for Dale Wilkes, we'll get you on the air immediately.
I felt like I could get the proper training. I knew Moolah. I knew of her reputation. I knew of her success. Of course, it was a little different, going to a school that had been predominantly set up for women, and it had some very successful women come out of there. There had never been a guy come out of there that had achieved any kind of success in pro wrestling. But when I got there and I met with Moolah, she did have some guys there. And back then, you guys remember TV. You had what they were called enhancement guys or job guys, and their job was to go out on TV and put one of the superstars over in 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and to really make a superstar look good. And she had some enhancement guys there. She would send these guys up to work for Verne. I mean, not Verne, but for events on TV. And so they didn't work full-time in the wrestling industry. They had full-time jobs, occasionally would do TV for events, and they were the ones that trained me, even though it was a girls' school and predominantly a girls' school. So I learned a lot of the physical part of it, the physical nature of it.